Is there anything more enjoyable and more expressive than playing on a guitar equipped with a floating trem system? I submit that there is not. It's so much fun to use, and there's so many different unique articulations and elements that you can add to your playing by using a floating trem system. There is, however, one fatal flaw. Now I know exactly what experienced guitar players are thinking right now. They're thinking, Darrell, it's 100% obvious the fatal flaw of a floating trem system is when you break a string, because when any string breaks, the whole guitar goes horribly out of tune and is unplayable. And of course, you'd be right. But that's not what we're talking about today. And here's the reason why. String breakages for me are an extremely rare occurrence. I break a string maybe once every 10 years, and when I do, I'm like, whoa, that was super weird. I guess I'm good for another decade. And so many of our guitar heroes, modern artists, and professional players in general use floating systems. It's proven, and I think over time, musicians develop a touch that they just don't break strings. I think when I was younger, maybe I broke more strings, but now after playing for like 20 years, I just don't. It just stopped happening. And I think that's a function of how we play, as we progress as musicians. So even though it is a fatal flaw with the system, it's not what we're talking about today. Well, now you might be thinking, okay, it's not string breaks. The fatal flaw is definitely alternate tunings. You can't even go to the most basic alternate tuning, drop D, without having to retune all your guitar strings multiple times to get it perfectly in tune. And then if you want to go to standard, you have to do it all over again. It's super annoying. That's the fatal flaw. And of course you'd be right. That is one super annoying part about a floating system. If you break a string, it all goes out of tune. If you go to an alternate tuning, it all goes out of tune. But that's not what I'm talking about today. So what we're talking about today is worse than breaking a string because it happens consistently and is more annoying than having to tune up and tune down from alternate tunings. And here's what it is. Here's my third string. I'll show you guys on the tuner. That's why we have it here. Okay, so we're in tune. Now, what I'm gonna do is do a big bend, and I'm gonna show you guys what happens. So here's a little lick. Now check out my third string. It's flat. Now, I don't have to tune it up. All I have to do is use the bar. So watch this. Pulls it back into tune. And that's the flaw. Whenever you do a big bend on a floating system, you have to use the bar to bring it back into tune. How annoying is that? And if you're playing a solo, you don't want to use the bar when you don't want to use it. And yet you have to in this scenario. So I'll show you guys again. So we're in tune, and I'll do that same lick. Check out my third string. Use the bar. Guitar is back in tune. So it happens on a Wilkinson, happens on the 6 screw, happens on aftermarket 2-point trems, happens on the expensive 6-point trems, happens on Ibanez 2-point trems, happens on high-tech blade trems like this and this. Now at this point, some of you guys might be thinking, well, that's all great, but what about a locking system? Surely that's not going to exhibit the flaw. Well, let's find out. Okay, but what about the Super Strat? This surely will not have the flaw. This guitar is built to hold tune. It's got the hip shot contour bridge with those beautiful saddles with the V in it, brings the string back into the same spot every time. It's got the roller nut. Surely the roller nut will make a difference. No string trees, locking tuners, everything is perfect. Well, let's find out. So in the end, even the Super Strat cannot outrun the flaw. Well, we're down to our last hope. This is the Strat with the Vega trem. Now, if you guys missed the torture test I did over on Instagram, I grabbed the bar, slackened the strings right off so they're floppy, bar right down to the pickguard 50 times in a row, came back in tune. An absolutely amazing system. We've got locking tuners from Graphtec on this guitar as well. But the saddles here are locked down. The feet are in grooves, they sit in machine grooves, plus the whole saddle is just locked down with a screw. So they cannot move side to side, they cannot move back to back. The saddles cannot shift, okay? So great system, this is our last hope. Let's try it out. So if I stand up and get out of the way, you guys can see each one of these guitars has an awesome trem system. So we've got, like I said, the Danelectro Wilkinson, Pacifica 6-point, Sophia, Blade Runner, Ibanez locking, PRS, awesome system. Then we've got the Vega Trem and the Ibanez SA series. All of them are awesome and all of them can be made to work perfectly, but they all exhibit the flaw. So that's it, you guys. I don't have a single guitar in my collection that can beat the system, that can overcome that flaw. And I have so many different instruments and configurations, and the flaw is just universal. You know, lots of my guitars have like Graphtec saddles like this, Graphtec nuts, no string trees, locking tuners, and the flaw persists. So I just don't know how to overcome it. So if any of you guys know how to beat the system, how to overcome the flaw, let me know, drop it in the comments section below. I think you'd help me out and a lot of people as well. But the notes go so flat, it's not just a slight sticking point here or there. I mean, we have the roller nuts, we have no string trees, we've got Graphtec on both sides, all this stuff to minimize that. And as long as you stay within a full tone bend, everything's smooth and beautiful. As soon as you kind of go over that, it drops like quite flat and you have to tap that bar. So anyway, really interesting topic. Hopefully you guys will have some answers. If you don't, at least you can be aware of the fatal flaw and try to avoid it. Now, if you guys stuck around to the end of the video hoping for some concrete solutions and answers to this problem, I apologize. I don't have any, but maybe somebody out there does and it can help us in the comment section below. Other than that, have a great week, you guys. You can check out the tab store, the t-shirt store, all that stuff. Have a great week. We'll see you next time with a new video.